Hey everyone, how you going? We're here for the third video. The first two we worked through the process of going out and getting the Coolerman and then bringing it home in the second video and just working through that, shaping it, the process of looking after a Coolerman or creating a Coolerman from start to finish. So today I thought I'd do something different for the final one, and that's just to work through the process of applying some sap to make a tool or a weapon. So we're going to go through and work through the creation, the raw materials used for a stone knife. So we'll go through that now. I'll show you all the process of that, but also two other examples where we use the sap on either our tools or weapons. So this is the final video for this term. I hope you mob enjoyed. Make sure you're working hard on those questions as you watch the video. There's a lot in this one, and we'll go through and do the raffle for the prize after this video. So this is video 3 out of 3. I hope you mob enjoyed them. I have. It's pretty cool to do this type of education learning online, because we get a bigger reach, get to see mob from all over the state log on. So stone knife, we'll go through and talk about that now. Rightio, as you can see, I'm out on my work table, I call it, out the back. It's where I keep all my wood. Okay, I've got some fire sticks there. I've got some cutout boomerangs. I've got some boomerangs that are almost finished. This is where I keep everything, as you saw last week, even my sanding rocks. And a rock here that I'm working on for an axe head. So this is where I keep everything, and it's where the wood is this morning. So I'm using mulga wood or mulga branch or tree, and that's what this one is right here. Okay, if you're out near Dubbo, west of Dubbo, north or even south, you'll see a lot of these mulga trees. But I've got some branches here that I've had for a while. This is what they look like with the bark on. Okay, they're just nice yellow wood. You do get a bit of a dark colour in the middle. But today we're just going to use some that have already been sanded down or peeled back, just to show you, because I'm sure you'd know how to sand some wood back, but this is what they look like in stages, I guess. Okay, so we'll probably use this one for the knife. I'll just shorten it with my saw here, but they're the stages to get down, and I'll show you a little bit of sanding that we do, but I really want to show you the sap, how we're going to mould a sharp rock. Okay, it's been splintered off onto this wood or this mulga branch here, that we could just use as a knife, for skinning, for cutting, for different types of purposes. So that's the wood or the base, okay, or the handle of the tree. I might even use this one. This is a nice thick one, thick base or thick handle, and go from there. But that's the wood or the handle. Rightio, these are some rocks that I've been given. I made that one, but you can see, okay, they have been made. So we don't find the rocks like these. These rocks are chipped or splintered into a nice thin, kind of sharp edge rock that we're going to use. These can be used for the spearheads, but also for our knives. You can see that's one there. So I'm going to go through and find one that's going to be good, nice and sharp and appropriate for our knife head. Righto, so what we're going to do, you probably see that I've started to cut in the top of my head of my handle. So I'm just going to sit the top of this in here, and then add some sap. So I'll just go ahead and do that a little bit more. You always got to be careful when using these types of tools because they do cut and leave some marks. So I've been doing them for a while, but always be careful. All right. Okay, I don't want too much of a hole or a gap. Okay, I'll be able to wedge that in and squeeze that in just so it sits nice and perfectly for the sap, just to help it stay nice and strong and mold it in. Rightio, so I'll keep going until I can get that in. Once that's in, I'll take you inside and we'll get the sap working and wrap that on, fix that in. So that's the start of what it's going to look like. Okay. Right, I've just sanded some of the top back as well, just so it goes into a nice small sharp point to match the rock. Okay, you can see the gap that I've made where I'm going to wedge that in with a bit of sap that you'll see in a moment. But I'm also just going to cut this in half as well, just so it's a nice hand kind of width, because I don't want it too long, just to fit in the hand nice and firmly at a good height or good length. Rightio, so I'll go ahead and cut that, finish off sanding this nice and back nice and smooth, and then we'll go in and get this nice sharp rock cemented or glued, sapped in with some resin up the top here. So rightio, so here are the binding equipment or material that I'm going to use. This is the sap or the resin that's been pre-made, okay, and you can see in there some of the textures that are through there. There's mainly 3 ingredients that we use for that. I won't tell you straight up on the video, but I will show you some images of when I was making some, not this one, making another one. This stuff's from the Pilbara, right over in Western Australia. A mate sent that over, but I've made some and I'll show you some of the raw materials that we use. I won't tell you, but you can use your imagination there. But before we melt this down, because we've got to melt this down nice and steady, you can't do it too quick or too hot too quickly, because it'll just melt it up into a crystal instead of glue, so it'll overheat. So it's a slow process, but what I'm going to do is use some of this sinew, okay, or tendons from a kangaroo's tail that I got out myself. I'll also see if I've got the videos to show you those, which I'll show you at the end of this video, of just me getting this out of a kangaroo, or a kangaroo tail that I got for some roadkill. Rightio, so that's the sinew or the tendons. Okay, we all have these in our body, but once this dries, all right, after it's applied, once it dries up and sets, it's extremely strong rope, very strong. So if you see some of the old artifacts that are in museums that are thousands and thousands of years old, both this glue and this rope are still intact. Rightio, long after it was created, so for thousands of years. But I'll go ahead and put this on. Okay, once that's all set and it's holding my knife head or my rock in place, we'll slowly heat this up and apply it on. So I've just gone ahead and wedged that in with that little cut that I made. I'm going to very gently wrap this on without popping the rock out. May take me a couple of times. But the idea is to just hold it in nice and firmly, okay, until we get that tree sap on. So even if it is still a little... All right, so we can see that's on nice and firmly. Okay, just to hold it into place. Once this dries, it'll constrict, all the moisture will go out of it and it'll tighten up nicely. So even though it's still a little bit loose now, once it dries, okay, it'll set perfectly. Probably leave this for a day before we add it on, so it does just set nice and firmly. But that's the start of the knife. Rightio, so I've just got this out of the microwave and you can see from before how bendy and squishy it is, okay, because it's all melted down. So what I'm going to do, because it is quite warm too, so you have to be very careful with this stuff because it does burn or give you blisters. I don't know if you can see that one there, that's from this same thing, okay. So what we do is we just squash it on, squash it to the rock and also in and around the rock. So very gently, okay, squishing it on, going around. It does take some time, so you have to be very patient, very steady. You might have to heat the rock up, the sinew again, okay. To apply some pressure, make sure it's getting righto. So after a while, okay, and a bit of application there with the pressing of force and the moulding, the heating up and reheating of the glue. Okay, some's still a bit gluey, but the best thing about this stuff is once you use it, you can put it all in one big bundle again. Okay, and you can reuse that after it sets. Okay, you can reheat it up and reuse it for some more artifacts or whatever you're making. So it's always good to squash it in together, okay, and just leave it there set. But that's the sap. Probably took me about 10 minutes to go ahead and apply this onto my knife. Okay, and as you can see, it's a nice, good little handle with some sap there from the pilbara. And it's quite firm, rightio, so it's not going to be going anywhere. So this stuff is quite good on our stone knife. So it will take a little while to set more, but once it dries out and fully sets or sticks to the wood, okay, it's a nice set there for the knife. So I'll show you my spearhead that I also use to set my spear in with the wood head spear, sorry, and also the wood. But as you can see, that's a nice knife, and I'll put up a clip as well at the end of this video just of me using the knife to get some of that kangaroo tendon out. Okay, they didn't always put it on a knife handle like this. You could have a common use was using it on the woomers or the end of the woomers, the spear throwing stick. They would apply the same sort of process just to attach that spearhead on that woomer. Okay, spearheads with the jagged spearheads would have been used the same. Okay, but they would have just stuck the sharp rock, probably about that big, just on the edge of the spear or the head of the spear. Okay, and that's how the jagged-headed spears would have been created and used as well. So that's a nice little stone knife that you can use. It's not extremely sharp, but with a bit of force, okay, it would cut the skin or the meat or whatever you're using it for. So that's a the stone knife. So here's the stone axe. Okay, same process with that glue, that tendon. Okay, very similar process to the stone knife. All right, you can see here this is nice and smooth. It's just because I sanded this back, but that would look like that before I sanded it. So got a stone axe there, used the same way with the sinew. Okay, but then we've got my spear head as well. So it's a nice gidgy headed spear. It's got some kangaroo sinew under that, just wrapped in to hold it in place. Then with the glue, rightio. So you can see how nice and how firm that is. But that's the application of SAP for our tools, whether it's a stone axe, little knife, or our bigger spearhead. So that's the end finished. From that stuff onto the weapons or tools. Not bad.